and welcome to Pricing College with your hosts, Joanna Wells
and Aidan Campbell.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about about pricing systems, about what they do. The reason I suppose we're going to talk about that is because a lot of companies, leading companies, are buying pricing systems. Some of which would think about pricing systems as a silver bullet solution to their price setting and management of prices and revenues. Other businesses are thinking in terms of efficiency and thinking about how you can integrate, people intelligence from the pricing team, the sales team, with an added and a juiced up pricing system. And I suppose today we wanted to talk about, essentially what it does, because a lot of people, I suppose, on the ground wouldn't have as much insight into, what it actually does. It's generally a top-down sort of decision to buy a pricing system, especially if it's expensive. And often there's sort of a disconnect that happens. And hopefully we can fill that gap and just explain what it does in a little bit more detail. So if you're in a company that uses it, you're going to know kind of what's around the corner.
So pricing software tools are becoming much more advanced. They're becoming better at what they do, and they're becoming more accepted as obviously information technology is taking over the entire world. The amount of data that's being captured in every walk of life with Internet of Things, etc. More and more items, machines are capturing data at every turn, from customer data to sales data to this, repeat purchases, all those sort of things. And so these machines really are, I would describe them as very useful tools to help pricing teams and pricing managers make the right decisions to help optimize profitability. Fundamentally, what these software tools do is crunch huge amounts of numbers and data based on the criteria that you select and that you plug into them. And they crunch it in a way that's much more efficient than any human, much more capable at analyzing data and coming up with suggestions and recommendations based on fundamentally on the criteria that they were programmed to do.
Okay, so I would almost think about a pricing system in terms of three main elements. So typically it has a forecasting element. Initially, that will look at past data to predict, future demand. But as the machine sort of learns and collects data, they integrate real-time data on demand with past data just to refine any assumptions that are made. So that's one element. The second element would be called the price optimization module, let's call it. And really that's the price setting component. And here they'll use like price elasticity modeling, linear regressions to set prices. And then the third element would be, let's call it the company financials, the benchmarks, the targets, the revenue targets they have, the margin targets they have, the costs that they need to consider. And really that will help feed into the price floors. And from there, the optimization part of it will optimize the prices based on those sort of baselines.
That's right. So even just hearing some of those terms, I'm sure it makes a lot of people shiver with fear. Pricing elasticities and regression analysis. These are things that you certainly can't run just with a quick back of an envelope calculation. And as things get more and more complex, the number of factors that can be included in these algorithms, I don't know if it's limited, if it's unlimited, but it's certainly huge. You look at it, could be competitors' pricing, it could be the day of the week, it could be capacity left in the warehouse, it could be days of delivery, it could be any number of things. And so it's when you really know your business, when you really know what drives customer activity, how it's working, these tools can be used to do all the legwork, all that hard number crunching work and to optimize things. Then this can feed into more dynamic pricing systems. It can feed into pricing at times of day, stuff that any team would just be exhausted by doing. So it gives you that real capability of optimizing pricing, doing the number crunching, but you always have to remember that it can only really do what it's told to do. It doesn't know who your customers are. It's never met them. It doesn't know their real drivers. And fundamentally, it doesn't know whether your product is higher quality than another product. So it's what you teach it. It will crunch and it will regurgitate to some extent, but with a lot of detail and expertise.
Yeah, and a lot of pricing teams have mentioned this to me. They've gone, well, when we got the system, we didn't really fully appreciate how much that system needed to be taught, because without our input, like it was constant for the first like 2 years, the machine would literally just produce like literal garbage. It was just prices that could not be rolled out in the market. They would be instantly rejected. It'd be a laughing stock to do it. So the pricing team had to spend a lot of time teaching the system, changing the numbers, altering the business rules, because often, like with pricing, and you're setting up a new pricing system, a lot of the logic you have to learn as you go. And a lot of the assumptions that were made in prior pricing models and frameworks no longer really worked, and especially as a market changes. This is why you do need that human intelligence when you're working with AI or new pricing systems, because the computer won't think about the market like a human will, and will just keep plugging away no matter what you put into it and the rules you put into it. So the pricing team's job is really to keep things on track. But also, the pricing team aren't the only one that use a pricing system, because the sales team have to use it in its various forms. They'll use it in terms of a quoting tool. So there are different sort of dashboard interfaces, the front end that people will see from the pricing system. And all in all, you may even get a quoting tool that's made to look like Excel, but behind it is actually the juiced up pricing system. And all of these algorithms and assumptions are being made as the tool is producing a quote for you. But again, like with the pricing team, the sales team are really important in this, because their feedback about the system, good and bad, about the price points it produces, and their knowledge of the market all have to be fed into the system too. So good companies take that on board to really improve the pricing system. They don't just let the pricing system run on its own without any guidance from pricing or sales.
I think that's it. Like, you need to know, when you know your business, when you know what you want to do, when you have a strategy that works through marketing, sales, development, product development, implementation, all those sort of areas. When you have your actual business model, this can be a really great tool to help you implement, to calculate, to optimize. But it's I don't think it will come up with a strategy for you. I think if you think that's what it's going to do, like a black box, I think you will be let down by it. But it's fundamentally a tool that will help you. Yeah, it's a tool that will help you get the job done, and it's going to save you a lot of time, and it's going to save you a lot of effort, and potentially will reduce the need for analysts and number crunching from a human perspective. So it could be cost effective also.
Yeah, I do see it transforming the pricing department to some degree. Yeah, there'll be, once it gets used to doing a lot of the simplistic, data entry or price reviews or that sort of thing, or even the sort of more mundane everyday sort of analysis, there will be less need for people to do that sort of stuff, but there'll always be a need for people to think through complex problems, to adjust the system to the market, to readjust and inform strategy, and most of all, segmentation, because segmentation will not be static. And I think we made this point before. A lot of these systems come with their pre-programmed segmentation just to break up the market and to make all these analyses and algorithms make sense in terms of different groups. If they make the market smaller in terms of groups, then they can check the math is working out right. And that's literally why they use segmentation like that. But, sometimes, yes, it works mathematically. You can check your answers are right, but it actually doesn't work in the market. People don't buy like that. So this is a problem that is still being worked out between, pricing system software and the market and segmentation. And I'm not sure it's completely figured out. But again, this is the job of a good pricing leader and a good pricing team to work with, vendors and also sales and other factions of the business to come up with a better solution.
I think final point I'd say is the old mantra, junk in, junk out. And if you remember that, you'll have a pretty good guess as to how the system will work. So I think we'll good stuff in, hopefully good stuff out also. So I think I'll leave it there from my side and say thanks and have a great day.
Yeah, me too. Thanks. Have a great day. Bye bye.